I normally do my, like, card edit videos as videos, and I figured it'd be fun to do it on stream, because I can get, like, opinions from chat and ideas from chat, right? Of, like, cards that we can work on. Now, to clarify, this is the progress I've made. So this is normally how I go through and find card art to, improve. I go through the official, like, Pokemon site to find the cards, but honestly, their scans suck. Like, the official artwork that they do, you can see how pixelated and stuff it is here, like how blurry the text is. When you go over here and look at the same card on Pokélector, it's so much more sharp, and it's an actual PNG. The corners are actually, like, cut out. Here, it looks like it, but it's a WebP, and so it saves with, like, white corners. It saves as a JPEG. I mean, that Cyndaquil has a lot of, like, blank space on the card. That would be, like, an easier one to do something with, right? Or Typhlosion. The open mouth usually gives some, like, good options. I'm really looking down at this nose pass right now. I think the Pokemon Company's onto me. They're trying to make cards that are harder to make fun of. I could have the Meditite, like, dive kicking on the nose pass. I think I can make that work. So I guess the first thing first is to actually cut out that Meditite. So I think the easiest option is just go through and reframe him. Okay, I don't think it cut him out, like, perfect, to be honest. We'll see. It's on one of my side monitors, which are, like, always throw off color. It's not bad. He's a little blurry, but he's gonna be, like, kind of smaller anyways. All right, let's see what we can do. The idea is to kind of get the leg in there, because the issue is to do that, to, like, make it feel like he's actually, like, biting down on the leg. The leg would have to be, like, huge. Like, to, like, fill that in, you know what I mean? Like, maybe, like, back at the mouth would kind of work. I mean, I could do it kind of like that, so his leg's, like, sticking out. He's kind of, like, biting his entire lower body. As long as his torso isn't in there, right? That's the biggest thing, because of, like, the depth. So I need, if you look right here, between, like, the mouth and the torso, that can't be overlapping. The head doesn't matter, because that'll be going behind. All right, so we can trim off everything that isn't going to be needed that's sticking out from the card frame. Hopefully this all, like, kind of comes together. Kind of hard, like, when the colors blend, like, white on white can be, like, a little hard to see. It's a lot of, like, trial and error sometimes whenever the colors blend that well. Okay, that's not bad. Again, we're gonna have a lot of tweaks to do. I still feel like I needed to make him larger, but the torso just wouldn't have fit properly. If we can add the shadow, I think it'll be okay. And we're actually going to clone stamp out the eyes, because I have a different plan with those. So just remove these in their entirety. In their entirety. Well, and to be fair, the goal was to just do the leg, but I kind of miscalculated the size of the leg versus how wide the mouth was. So we kind of have to, like, I kind of had to do it how I did it. I guess you are technically first now. Yeah, stream died. I'm not sure what happened there. Like, for me, it's pending on both of them again. Can stream just not happen today? Like, are you guys still seeing it? Are things still happening? We're just going to continue and hope that it isn't broken, but it looks like it's broken again. If someone can confirm if stream... It broke again. What is happening? Take out this eye. It was the second that I was like, all right, let's pull up other cards, because someone's asking about other cards that I've done, that it just instantly broke. So I guess we just can't do that on stream. That's just not an option. Now I just keep looking. Now I keep looking over at my other monitor to see the stream. Now what exactly I'm going to do with his eyes is a fantastic question. Yeah, I guess that kind of looks like, you know, he's kind of being put through it. Did stream just die again? Okay, I think that actually helps. Like, kind of toning down on, like, his natural blue a bit. It's not ever going to be perfect, because this card just isn't, like... At least the scan of the card, at the very least, isn't, like, great. Okay, do we want to, like, try and trim out a little bit? Okay, that's way too large. Try and, like, trim out a little bit of the edges of him. And then we got to work on adding the shadow. I think the color's okay for now. We can always go back and retouch it. The thing is, I can also, like, do the opposite, right? Right now, what we're trying to do is get the Meditite to fit in with the card art of the Typhlosion, but we can do the opposite. So we're going to do another layer just in case. Up here, we're going to go to Object, and there should be called Inner Shadow. Yeah. Of course, we're not going to need it over the entirety of the Pokemon, just kind of like where it's going into the mouth, right? Okay. It's nothing great, but it does kind of like help it like fit into the card a bit better, I guess. I think we need to kind of do the opposite as well. And we're going to do another inner shadow, but we're actually going to aim it up, right? Maybe, like, reduce that length a bit, just to add, like, a little bit of depth from the Typhlosion's head versus Meditite's face ear area. Okay, so now comes the fun part that I'm not looking forward to. All right, so now we need to go through and subtract to remove the edges right here. So we're going to do like a lasso select. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because what we're going to be doing isn't anything super drastic. So this doesn't have to be like super well cut, which is a good thing because it's going to be kind of a pain. I love the first idea that we come up with, I thought would be like a pretty easy one. And now I'm just like desperately trying to get it to work. This should be the end of what we need to remove from our selection. Perfect. So now we are going to cut out that layer and we're going to separate it into its own layer. So now that Typhlosion layer, the original card art, can just be popped out any time. All right, but now that that's separated, we can start tweaking the original art to try and make it more in line with the Meditite. I do think, while that is like too bright, I think it fits the Meditite card a bit better. I still just not caring for it. Like, this isn't blending super well. I'm not crazy about it. We're gonna do a hue saturation. We're gonna turn it down real far, and we're going to do a Gaussian blur around the Meditite. Kind of light. We're just kind of doing a bit of an outline to try and correct those edges a bit. And honestly, I think it makes it stand out too much. I'm mostly worried about like the head up there, right? Like if I erase from here, I think I might just have to give up on the idea of getting this Meditite to like blend super well. I just don't think it's going to. Yeah, I'm not super proud of this one, but to be fair, it took me a while to even come up with a single idea. I'd say it's fine. Like, it's not my best work by any means. Nothing's gonna beat this Umbreon EX anytime soon. Like, this card is still just fantastic. I don't hate the idea of like trying to remove, like from this Ho-Oh here, like trying to like remove the Pokemon in its entirety and replace it with something else. I don't hate that idea. A lot of the trainers I don't usually have super great ideas for, although I did do that trilogy where I gave 3 of them guns. That was a fun time. Yeah, a lot of the trainer cards is not going to have anything to do with, although there is a bomb that would be real easy to cut out. This is what happens whenever I do the videos on this, by the way. It's like a good like hour, if not longer, of me just staring at cards getting ideas. Oh, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. Okay, I did an okay job. Okay, I didn't do great. It didn't do great, but it still saved me some work, right? So, it did a job, I suppose. It looks almost like the bomb is like currently going off. We definitely don't need all of this. I mean, it would be hard, right, for the Switch to fail. Like, I've heard that a lot. It's like, oh, there's no way the Switch 2 could fail after the success of the Switch. If you think that, you have not kept up with console history. Like, you have not kept up. The PS2 dominated so hard that everyone said the same thing about Sony. And to be fair, Sony turned it around, right? But for the first, like, half, I'd say for the first, like, 70% of the PS3 360 generation, the 360 was out ahead by a long shot. Everyone's like, oh, the PS2, like, dominated its generation so, so heavily. At the time, it was the highest selling console of all time. Like, there's no way whatever Sony puts out won't be, like, the best console. What do you know? Sony thought the same thing, so they decided to be stupid with it. They intentionally made it hard to develop games for the PlayStation 3, because they were like, yeah, everyone's going to want their game on our console. So we're going to make it to where when you make our game for our console, it's going to be hard for you to, like, have your game run on anything else. So they won't bother to port it to the Xbox, right? So it'll only go on PS3. Instead, they just didn't make games for the PS3. It just went on Xbox. That cockiness screwed them over, and that could have easily happened with the Switch too. And I think it somewhat has, right? The cockiness of the success of the Switch has kind of led them to... Oh yeah, I want to try and add more of that fuse. The cockiness of the success of the Switch has led them to, you know, have that crazy price and increasing the price of games. So how, like, easily... Because, like, you can see how much of that it cut out, right? I don't know how easily I can add some of that back in. I think our best bet, honestly, is to just go with this, right? And then I can kind of like blur it out from there, to like a zoom blur to shoot it out. I think that's probably the best option. So we'll just go with this for now. try to get the base image fit into the card first, then work on that after. Hopefully this one will look better than our last card. I was not proud of that. So do you want him, like, holding the bomb? More like hugging it? If we do it kind of like that, we can almost have the fuse coming out from behind him. Like, kind of rotate it a bit. So you can, like, kind of see the fuse sticking out. The issue is it kind of goes into his shoulder here, right? It'd have to be more over, and then the fuse doesn't really stick out. I guess at that point, though, I can cut right here and just move it where I want it, right? Because it'd be obscured behind him. Because at that point, you can't even tell where the fuse is supposed to be. So mostly just worry about the rounding here. The most challenging part of this is going to be erasing that grass, right? Because it needs to be behind that. But for now, we can at least just start with this right here. Just to get the fuse going behind him. Because then... you know, now that it's going to be obscured, like, which direction the fuse is going and how long it is, I kind of have the freedom to just kind of put it wherever I want. So, just kind of drag it down a bit more. And so, like, the fuse is just kind of, like, sticking out from behind his head, like, right there, I'd say. Just to give it a bit more length, you know? Make it more obvious that, you know, it's sticking out there. Okay, that's not bad. I think I need to erase a little bit more of the line on Scraggy's head here. I've done, like, you know, like, grassy things before to, like, kind of remove and cut out. And one thing I learned about it is that, like, if you don't cut out enough, no one can really tell. As long as the shape kind of towards the end looks right, you know what I mean? So, like, right here, like, kind of at where it first starts to blend in. Like, as long as that looks right, if it thins out a bit as it goes, it's not really a big deal. Again, just to clarify for the billionth time, like I do every time I do, like, a video on this, I'm not an artist. Like, I had someone say that I might as well be because, like, you know, I clearly do, like, a lot of Photoshop or whatever. Man, my Photoshop comes from necessity, not from any kind of, like, actual, like, artistic, like, schooling or anything. Just, like, trying things out. And then people correcting me in comment sections, which has helped me learn a good amount. I think that's all right. Let's go and see what we've done so far. So bring that forward again. Wow, that does not look good. If we shadow it, if we add a little bit of a shadow, I think it'll work. All right, we're doing okay, but there's definitely a lot more of that grass that needs to be added. We're getting progress. I knew this part would be, like, the worst. Okay, we also, like, can just, like, do a pretty big erase right here as well. Like, I think we just kind of call it there, honestly. I think I definitely did this in a difficult fashion. Okay, I think that'll actually work. So all we have to do is fill this in. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We only need, like, a small section of this to actually, like, work properly for us. Oh wait, no, we need that little stem there. Yeah, invert selection, perfect. All right, we are going to copy that. We're gonna paste it into a new layer. So now we have a layer where that's removed. I know you guys can't really see it, but you'll see here in a second. So if we do adjustments, hue and saturation, make it fully dark, drag it behind that. Oh, did I do that wrong? I did. Okay. Go back to where I had that all highlighted. Am I stupid? I'm going brain dead right now. Blurs, Gaussian, and oh my god, I can finally get it working properly. It's real sharp on that shadow. I think what we need to do first is, okay, so this layer right here, we can duplicate. Let's hide that one for now. Let's just do a blur on the original. Am I on the wrong layer? No, I'm not. Okay, that works. So pretty light. We'll do like a 2. Yeah, okay, that fills in some of the edges. Like, it basically just does our manual anti-aliasing. Now we can re-add that shadow. Effects, blurs. I'm figuring out what I'm doing, and I swear I don't normally struggle this much. Okay, that's not bad. However, one of my layers is kind of screwing this up. So we can go ahead and condense these layers now that I got that finally figured out. Perfect. Okay, that was a struggle, but I think it works. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than the last card that we did, at least so far. I have adjustments to make now. All right, color correction time. We are making progress finally on this card. So we could try an auto. God, what is that? Like, its attempts at auto leveling are rarely good. I've had a few times where it's, like, kind of come in clutch. They're making it a bit lighter kind of works, but it's still, you know, it's a bomb, right? It's supposed to be dark. I actually think it might be pretty good at this point. I could go in and do what we did on the last one and adjust. I think we should. I think we need to like do that extra mile just for how much pain we went through trying to get this far. I think it's kind of necessary. So the issue is that background layer is actually doing a job, but so is that one. So whatever we do, we're gonna have to apply to both layers, which is a bit of a pain. But it's a very minor difference. But of course, if we did that, it would just completely remove it. Again, won't be too difficult because it doesn't have to be perfect. 'Cause all we're doing now with that base layer is just pretty basic color correction, just to try and make it blend in a bit more. I think it's one thing I've learned from doing all of these is that if you're trying to get an image to fit in with another one, you don't always just want to go one way, right? Because like we're trying to combine two images that are done by like two different artists and two different styles. If you just try to make one blend in with the other, it doesn't work as well as doing it from both sides. Okay, Auto actually didn't do a terrible job. I make fun of Auto, like this is the original. That's with Auto. It did make it kind of blue, but it's not bad. In my experience, this right here is what Auto plays with the most. We want to bring some of that red back out that our levels kind of messed up. I'd say so. Not much. Play with the green, not really needed. Blue, yellow. So right here on this, I want to duplicate that. We can erase one of them while I kind of work on it. So I can actually see what I'm doing. Erase the initial stem. Oh, there's that little black line there. I don't know where that came from. It doesn't matter. I don't think, well, I guess Gaussian does give it a bit of a glow, but I more so think if we do a zoom blur, just kind of make it look like it's, you know, more popping. Yeah, less focus, I'd say. So we have that first one that kind of expands on the initial glow, but if we double it up and then take that second layer, and we actually mess with the hue. I actually need to remove that first one for now. I'd say right about there, saturated a bit more. That works. Now we can bring that first layer back. Then this one, we are going to go back into blurs. We're going to reapply a zoom blur to it. We're going to reduce its distance a bit. Okay, I don't know why it just immediately jumped it down all the way. There, that adds some red, and actually, it puts a little bit of red on the Scraggy. Okay, I guess that doesn't really make sense, though, because it's supposed to be, like, behind him. Okay, that's not bad. I do think it needs to be removed, but now that we can just stack it all into one layer, then erase it from the Scraggy. Because, again, it's supposed to be, like, behind him, right? So you wouldn't really have light casted on his face. I don't think that one's too bad. It's definitely better than the first one that we attempted. That is far better than the first card. Yeah, okay. I'm proud of our bomb Scraggy. Okay, pardon the interruption. You might have noticed on that Scraggy card that I forgot something. See, originally I was going to put the hand in front of the bomb like he's hugging it, and then I just didn't do that. If you're gonna tell this stream was a little rough, this was like one of my first streams I did here on YouTube. I like to think things have improved since this point in time, but I guess I was flustered or something at the time. I don't know. I completely forgot about it. Fun fact, after this stream, I had a power outage, and I lost all of my progress on these cards, so I lost them in their entirety. So I did decide to go back and basically screenshot them and try to clean them up. And I went ahead and did the arm thing with the Scraggy. Now we're dealing with two different resolution cards at this point, because one is a screenshot and one is the raw card again. And one had all the color adjustments done, so I did the best that I could. But here it is on screen, the improved version of the Scraggy, quote unquote improved. Saved via a screenshot of a 720p stream, then re-edited it with the full quality card to add the arm. Yeah, I'd say it's okay. I guess while I'm here, the first card that we did, it's been like a month since this stream. First card that we did, I still hate it. I still consider it a failure. I like this one. I want to get this one of my favorites, but it's definitely like pretty middle of the pack for me. The one that we're about to do, I still love. So let's go to that. I don't think anything, like a lot of times whenever I try to do like this kind of like card edit thing, I always try to like at least have one that's like a big standout to me. And I really did like that Scrafty. That Scrafty one was fun, but I don't have any like big ideas that are like coming to my brain. If Greedent wasn't so large on the card, there's a lot of things I could do with him, but he takes up so much space. There's not like a whole lot of room to play around with it, because one of the ideas, like, you use the Eradicate, diving into the Greedent. The angle doesn't really work that well. Oh, I can have come from the background, though. So I kind of have, like, this part of him, like, cut off, right? So you have, like, the Greedent's body, like, cutting off a bit of him, right? But he's, like, diving from the side, like, ambushing the Greedent. I don't think that's the worst idea. Add a bit of a blur to him. So he looks like he's a bit distant. All right, I think that works. Finishing off this tail is going to be the hard part for me. Yeah, so it does just kind of like come to like a fine point. It does round out, like it's not sharp. So I think like that, I think that works. I think that works. Yeah, that's not bad. It kind of looks like another segment. I can just like fill that in now with that like darker shade. And that should actually work pretty well for me. Again, clone stamp is a kind of a lazy way to do it. Like, you'll see, like, repeating patterns and stuff, but it's going to be kind of blurred out in the background anyways. What matters is that, like, the general color is correct, right? Like, it's really not that serious. I think we're good. All right, good enough. Again, this is going to be, like, blurred out in the background. I don't need to, like, stress about it, but sometimes I'll, like, add details that no one's ever going to see. And, like, I focus down on things that, like, will literally be covered up anyways. And I just need to, like, get better about not doing that. It's like whenever I make, like, thumbnails for videos. Like, the thumbnails I make for the streams are, like, done really fast. Like, I like, speed run making stream thumbnails because it's whatever. But for the videos, like, I'll do the same thing. Like, I'll focus on tiny details no one's ever going to pay attention to. So the idea is he's going to be coming up from kind of behind him, right? He's going to be a lot smaller than the Greedent is. He's going to be in the background. Like, we're going to blur him a bit to make him, like, more obviously in the background. We don't, like, change the angle or anything. I mean, Greedent is, like, kind of, like, up a hill, right? So it kind of makes sense to be, like, more of, like, an upward leap, right? To be able to, like, make it to him. Especially if he's coming, like, down the hill. Greedent's, like, kind of big cheek there is making this part a little bit more rough to do. Do we really need to blur him that much? I'm actually already pretty happy with this. Okay, yeah, I do think a light blur is a huge benefit. We could also do like a motion blur. Motion. Oh my god, that is like rabid. Make sure he's not... Oh, he really didn't override much of that blur. No, that's good. It kind of works out really well. Because one thing I was worried about is that the Eradicate has like much thicker lines, right? And so I was kind of worried about like that conflicting, but it kind of works, like, because he's being shrunk down, and their like line work is like kind of the same size at this point. Like, there's not much of a difference there. I think we're good. I'm pretty happy with this this Eradicate kind of jumping on, ambushing our Greedent here. I'm pretty happy with that. Looking back, I still like this Crafty. I'm still proud of this Crafty. The work, the line work, like around the grass here is awful. I hate it. It's atrocious. I don't think I can do any better. Yeah, that is definitely the worst one I've done. But that isn't like I'm not really that proud at all. The Typhlosion. I still love this card. Just don't look too close at the grass, and it's fantastic. But 100%, this was the winner today. I was proud of this one.